No, sir. Myself, Mahi Zabin from CSCA department. Today, my topic for presentation is the Clausius Mossotti equation, and the subject is engineering physics, subject code 23 PHY01, submitted by S.A. Mahi Zabin, and the register number is 244Z1A0508, department, computer science and engineering. Clausius Mossotti relation or Mossotti equation. Consider a dielectric material having cubic structure and assume ionic polarization and orientational polarization are zero. Alpha equal to alpha 0 equal to 0. Polarization P equal to capital N mu. P equal to capital N alpha E, capital EI, where mu equal to alpha E, capital EI, where capital EI equal to capital E plus P by 3 epsilon naught. Now P polarization capital N alpha E capital EI. So P equal to capital N alpha E into E plus P by 3 epsilon naught. P equal to capital N alpha E capital E plus N small n capital N alpha E into P by 3 epsilon naught. P minus capital N alpha E into P by 3 epsilon naught equal to capital N alpha small e capital E. P into 1 minus capital N alpha E by 3 epsilon naught equal to capital N alpha E into E, capital E. P equal to capital. Now we know that the polarization vector P equal to epsilon naught into capital E into epsilon or minus 1. Let these P equal to epsilon naught capital E into epsilon or minus 1 be 2. From the equation 1 and 2, capital N alpha E into capital E by 1 minus capital N alpha E by 3 epsilon naught equal to epsilon naught into capital E into E or epsilon or minus 1 1 minus capital N alpha E by 3 epsilon naught equal to capital N alpha E capital E by epsilon naught into E into epsilon or minus 1 and 1 equal to capital N into alpha E by 3 epsilon naught plus N in capital N into alpha E into capital E by epsilon naught capital E into epsilon or minus 1. 1 equal to capital N alpha E by 3 epsilon naught plus N capital N alpha E by epsilon naught into epsilon or minus 1 and 1 equal to capital N into R E into epsilon 1 equal to capital N alpha E by 3 epsilon naught into 1 plus 3 by epsilon or minus 1 that equal to capital N into alpha E by 3 epsilon naught equal to 1 by 1 plus 3 by epsilon or minus 1. Now capital N alpha E by 3 epsilon naught equal to epsilon or minus 1 by epsilon or plus 2. Now this is the Clausius-Mossotti equation or Clausius-Mossotti relation. By this type we can classify or find out the Mossotti equation or Mossotti relation. First we have to consider a dielectric material having cubic structure and assume ionic polarization and orientational polarization are 0. This must be equal to 0. Alpha I equal to alpha 0 equal to 0. Polarization P means where P equal to polarization, that P equal where P equal to capital N into alpha into mu. So let us consider this polarization P and P value equal to capital N alpha E capital EI, where this mu value equal to alpha E into capital I. So by this type we can classify the Mossotti equation or we can find out the Mossotti relation or Mossotti relation. Thank you. Thank you for giving this opportunity.